Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the July releases that I'm most anticipating. I'm pretty sure they're all romance once again because that's just what I've been gravitating towards. So more and more of this content is just going to be romance. So without further ado, let's just hop into the video. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the books in publication order. So the first book that I want to talk to you about is Something Unexpected by V.I. Keeland. I love V.I. Keeland's writing. This releases July 3rd and is a forced proximity romance. It follows Beck and Nora. Beck's grandmother finds out that she doesn't have long to live and decides to go on this super adventurous travel trip where she does like rock climbing and skydiving and like all of these really more like daredevil kind of things on the trip. And Beck does not approve of the trip, and tries to talk her out of it. So she decides to block him on Instagram and leaves him. The only way to contact her is through her friend and travel companion, Nora. So Nora periodically sends updates to Beck and always leaves little snarky comments because she thinks it's dumb that Beck is against the trip. But when Beck finds out the trip coming up is going to be the most dangerous yet, he decides to hop on the plane and try to convince his grandmother in person not to do it. But he gets there early and decides to go to the bar for a drink where he meets a woman who is looking for no strings attached sex, and he agrees, but then when he's paying the tab, he realizes how much she's had to drink and decides to stand her up. But then he finds out the next morning when he meets with his grandmother that woman that he met at the bar was actually Nora, and she dislikes him even more now. And she's gonna dislike him even more when she finds out that he's joining them for the rest of the trip. So the next book I want to talk to you about is Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This releases July 4th. I think that it will actually go out July 4th. The publication of this was pushed back. It was originally, I think, supposed to come out at the end of June, but I think now it for sure will be coming out at the beginning of July. Some of the tropes in it are one night stand, workplace romance, and forced proximity. So this book follows Chandler, who is a ghostwriter, and when she goes to meet her newest client, she realizes that it is her horrible one-night stand from the night before. Finn is a popular actor from a cult classic TV show, and when he finds out that Chandler did not enjoy their night together, he decides to proposition her for something other than just ghostwriting and teaching him how to have sex better, I guess. And she decides to go for it, and it devolves into this ridiculous, spicy repercussions of their decisions. I am so excited for this. I love Rachel Lynn Solomon's writing, so I'm really excited for this book. I got it pre-ordered. As soon as it comes to me, I am definitely going to try and pick it up. The next book is Meet Your Match by Candy Steiner. This is coming out July 7th. I believe this will be a first in a hockey romance series by Candy Steiner, but right now it's the only one out. So some of the tropes are pro hockey player, forced proximity, workplace, enemies to lovers, and he falls first, which I'm very excited about that trope. So it follows Maven, who is a social media manager, and her bosses are so excited because they finally have the opportunity to land Vince Cool, who is a very rich playboy hockey player. But little do they know is that Maven and Vince have actually met before and did not get along at all. They clashed real hard. So, but it's too big of an opportunity for Maven to miss out on, so she agrees, and now they have to get up close and personal together and spend all their time together in order to try and fill the seats of the home games that on the team that Vince now plays for. but Vince gets under Maeve's skin like no other person. He just like finds a way to just get under there. And it isn't long before the line between hate and lust begins to blur. I absolutely love Candy Steiner's writing, and her plus sports romance, sign me up. I'm so excited about this one. So the next book is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This is a debut novel. Some of the tropes are second chance, forced proximity, and grumpy sunshine, and it releases July 11th. So Emma is a wedding planner who has major commitment issues after her mom has been married 14 times, but it makes her a very good wedding planner because she has been to so many different types of weddings that her mom has thrown throughout the years that she basically knows everyone in the industry and can put together a wedding super quickly. Elliot is a strong but broody florist in the industry, and they are forced to work together when a high-profile celebrity client requests both of them, but it's not their first time meeting. They've actually met before, which we don't really get, so you don't really get context for until you start getting his point of view. And they need to move past the hurt that they've caused each other in order to work together and make this wedding a big hit because it's really important for both of their businesses. I actually got the arc of this book and I have yet to finish reading it. I only just started it, but so far I'm really enjoying it. There seems to be really good dialogue in it, and I've heard really good things from my friends who have read it, the advanced copy already, so I'm very excited about this one. So the next book that I want to tell you about is Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. This releases July 11th. Some of the tropes are forced proximity, love triangle, and there is a dog who causes like mischief and chaos in the book. So I love, 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 love when that happens. This book follows Sadie, who is an artist, and when she's competing in a art competition, she suddenly blacks out and she wakes up in the hospital to be hopefully temporarily diagnosed with what is called face blindness, which basically just means that she can see the different parts of a face, but they kind of look like a broken puzzle that they don't really line up to form a face. So she's struggling to cope with this diagnosis because she's an artist and this is like what she does. So it's a really hard thing for her to get over. And then in addition to that, she's also having to deal with a bunch of things in her personal life and take care of her crazy dog. So when she meets two strangers, she quickly, as part of like the coping mechanism, she falls for both of them and has to decide which one she wants. I read The Bodyguard earlier this year, and it's one of my favorite books that I've read so far this year, so I'm very excited for this one. I loved her writing. It was one of those books that I just wanted to grab a highlight and start annotating everything, and I'm not really usually one who wants to do that, but I loved her writing so much that I felt the need like I needed to, so I'm very excited about this book. So the next book is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This releases July 11th. Some of the tropes are surprise pregnancy, one night stand, slow burn, forced proximity / roommates, cinnamon roll hero, and friends to lovers, and one bed. It sounds like it's chocked full of tropes. So I'm really excited about this one. It sounds really good, and I've heard such good things about this author's writing. I think this one will be a good one to pick up to get an introduction. So it follows Wynn, who has been extremely independent her entire life because she's always had to fight for her independence. She was born with a limb difference. One of her hands is smaller than the other. And so she's spent majority of her life having to claim control over her own body and making her own way in the world. But that all changes after a one-night stand with Beau, who is very handsome and very charming, but it turns out that one-night stand, she gets pregnant. So Beau is Bo is surprisingly excited to step up to the plate, but Wynn, who has been so independent her entire life, has a hard time accepting help with anything, and she doesn't think she can do this on her own. So they reluctantly decide to form a friendship and just leave it at that. Don't try and force a relationship, just raise a great human being. But they both should know by now that life rarely goes according to plan, and they might just not be able to stay just friends. So that one sounds very good. Okay, so the next book is Starbringer by Tracy Wolff and Nina Croft. This also releases July 11th and is a fantasy romance. I love Tracy Wolff's Crave series. It's just very addicting, and this sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun too. I have not heard anybody really talking about this, but basically I think the concept is that the sun is dying and the only way to save the universe is through this alien artifact that they have to keep safe. But then somebody decides to try and blow up the spaceship that this artifact is staying on so that they can't save the world. But they manage to get away on this small aircraft, 6 of the people who are protecting, and they're the 6 most unlikely people who are supposed to be taking care of it. Yeah, so they managed to get away, but the people who blow up the original one are not letting them get away that easily. So yeah. The next book is You with a View by Jessica Joyce, which also releases July 11th. I've heard really good things about this book. I have never read anything by Jessica Joyce. This might be her debut, I'm not entirely sure, but from friends who have read this, I've heard really good things. So it is a road trip forced proximity romance. It also has one bed and are rivals to lovers. So it follows Noelle, whose life became just a bit of a mess. She had to move back in with her parents at the age of 28, and her best friend, who was her grandmother, who was also her best friend, passed away recently. So she has to go through all of her stuff, and it's just a really tough time in her life. But while she's going through it, she finds these young love letters between her grandmother and this mystery man. So she goes on TikTok and posts about these letters and hopes to find some information out about this mystery man. And one of her rivals from high school actually comments and gives her information on this guy. So they decide to go on a road trip together in order to find him and solve the mystery. Okay, so the next book is The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy. This is the 3rd book in the Avalon Bay series. It releases July 18th and is a friends to lovers romance. I have not read any of the books in this Avalon Bay series, but I did like the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, so I'm willing to give this a shot, especially during the summer where this just feels like a very summery book. But it follows Cassie, who grew up going to Avalon Bay every single summer until her parents divorced and she stopped going there over the summer. But then her grandmother decides she's going to sell the hotel that has been in their family for generations. So it's her last opportunity to go up for the summer. So she decides she's going to go there and celebrate her 21st birthday and hopefully find a summer fling. And on her first night in town, she finds the perfect candidate for this summer fling, Tate. And Tate is not new to summer flings. The first time he meets Cassie, he knows she is not someone that he can play with, so he reluctantly puts her in the friend zone because he knows that she deserves better than him and better than whatever he could give her. But as they spend more time together, their chemistry really builds and some secrets from town are revealed. And so it might not matter whether they were in a relationship or a friendship anyways, because these secrets might destroy that. Okay, and last but not least is the 3rd book in the Cottonwood Cove series by Laura Pavlov, which is On the Shore, and it releases July 27th. I haven't read any of the books in this series, but I did like Laura Pavlov's writing with the one book that I have read by her. I've heard really good things about this series in general. I don't actually know too much about this book, but some of the tropes are that it's an NFL player romance, workplace, and it's hate to love. And I know that he's a quarterback in the NFL and he's like a big hot shot. And she's a hot-headed reporter. And they despise each other, but they end up in the same small town for the summer. And so what could possibly go wrong there, right? Okay, and those are all the books that I'm really anticipating that are coming out in July. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.